Hey guys, thanks for coming in and watching us today. There's a lot of things you could have been doing, but you've taken some time out to come see us create some art in the kitchen. And today we're celebrating Valentine's Day. And who else better to celebrate Valentine's Day with than with your baby? This is my sweetheart, 27 years of marriage, Stephanie. She's been with me through thick and thin, ups and downs,
yes,
and poor. You know, so we're super excited about today and celebrating it today. And I'll tell you a quick story. Back in the days, my wife was my original sous chef. So when I was in the kitchen coming up with different recipes, let me stop right there and let me tell you another story, then I'll come back with that one. She was actually the cook when we first met. So I didn't cook. I did some short order cooking. Now, we are talking about almost 30 years ago. So I did short order cooking, and she was be the one in the kitchen watching different food channel networks and different things like that and putting together these different recipes. And I would come home from working at maybe some fast food restaurant or something like that, and she would be cooking. And over the years, things kind of just, I don't know, switched, evolved. Mm-hmm. So having said that, she was my original sous chef in the beginning when I was putting together recipes. So I'd be in the kitchen cooking, and she'd be helping me out stirring dishes, stirring different foods, and washing dishes and different things like that. All the things that I didn't want to do. So today I got my wife in the kitchen to do all the things that we're going to do today. So even the things that I want to do, she's going to be doing those things. So that's going to be great. Let me talk about what we're going to be eating today. Today we're going to be doing a Parmesan crusted chicken. It's really amazing. The chicken's awesome. So we take a panko braided chicken, put a little Parmesan, some herbs in it, toss it in the oven. It's amazing. Put a little olive oil on top of it. We're going to finish it with a chicken velouté, which is nothing more than just a cream sauce. That's what we're going to do. Then we're also going to pair it with some herb roasted potatoes, some long green beans, and a nice salad. Now this salad, I'm a salad guy, salad and fish. So with this salad right here, we're going to do a balsamic vinaigrette. We made it from scratch, balsamic vinaigrette. We're going to put some blue cheese crumbles on it, some strawberries, and just top it off like that. Nice and refreshing, we'll do that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we have some water over here boiling. So, Stephanie, how much water is that?
4 cups.
That's about 4 cups of water. So what we're going to go ahead and do is she's going to go ahead and season up, put a little salt in that water.
A pinch?
Make it 2 pinches. 2 pinches. So she's going to put 2 pinches of salt in that water. And then once your water comes to a boil, which is what's happening right now, we're going to go ahead and put in these long green beans. They're actually called haricot vert, which is French for long, thin green beans. That's probably about I'm going to say that's probably about 1.5 pounds of green beans.
You don't cut the ends off?
No, we don't cut the ends off of those. So they're really good. You can eat the ends. They're not stringy. So we're going to let those do its thing. She has it boiling right here. While those are boiling, we're going to go ahead and start on the next thing. The things that take the longest to cook. So whenever you're cooking, you want to start with the things that take the longest to cook. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take some roasted potatoes right here, red skin potatoes, and I'm just going to take those bad babies and we're going to cut them up. Whenever you're cutting potatoes or anything like that, you want to make sure you have a flat surface so the potatoes is not rolling all around on you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these potatoes right here. Here and just cut them right here and get them ready, because what we're going to do is once these green beans finish boiling, or blanching is actually what we're doing. Once these green beans finish blanching, Stephanie's going to put them in an ice bath, and then we're going to take some more water and we're going to put our potatoes in the water. Now here's the difference. When you're doing green beans, you start it off in hot boiling water. You put your green beans in there because you want to cook them from the outside in, but you're really just blanching. It's the direct opposite when you're cooking potatoes. You start off cooking the potatoes and you start off with cold water because you want to cook it from the inside out. So that's what we're going to do. So these is doing this thing. I'm going to go ahead and knock out a few more potatoes right here. Do this real quick. Yep, let me show you what you're going to do next. So we got the potatoes right over here. These are going to be for our herb roasted potato. Now, while this is doing right here, we're going to go ahead and get some tongs. This is almost ready. Once you go ahead and get you, So we're going to go ahead and cut these off right here. Right here. So Stephanie, tell the audience, how did we meet? Do you still remember how we met? Now, I know it's been 27, we actually just celebrated 27 years. So do you remember how we met?
Yes, he came to my house, y'all.
Just knocked on the door?
Yes, you just knocked on the door and my head was in rollers.
Uh-oh.
And my sister came back and told me somebody's here for you. I said, well, tell them to come back tomorrow because my head is in rollers.
And here's the deal. I actually, now here's the story. That's the short version of it. The long version of it, I was taking a friend to work one day because he was singing in the choir for the college, and he didn't work a whole lot because he couldn't. His time wouldn't let him do it. His schedule wouldn't let him do it. So I took him to this store here in town for a job. I went in the store to find out what time he was getting off. Now, these are almost ready. Found out what time he was getting off. And in the process, I saw this young lady standing over on aisle 2. I'll say aisle 2 because it could have been aisle 1, but it was one of those aisles right up at the front. So I went over there, and sometimes when you know, you just know. I just knew it. But I also knew something else. I was not looking like I needed to meet anybody. I was looking a little rusty, I'll be honest with you. So I went home, changed clothes, came back, and she was gone. And I proceeded to look for her for the next, I'm going to say probably about the next month or so. Finally, the people start thinking, who is this creepy guy? Looks like he's just walking around the store, not buying anything. I went up to a lady I knew, and she said, the woman you're looking for doesn't work here anymore. So I don't know, you know, I guess I missed my chance, I missed my opportunity, but you guys can see it worked out. I'll tell you the rest of the story in a second. Let's do this here. So our potatoes right here are sitting. Those green beans are almost ready, not quite yet. They're almost there. So we're just gonna let those sit for a second. What I'm gonna do, our next thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the chicken. Now guys, like I said earlier, whenever you're doing any kind of raw product, chicken, beef, or anything like that, you wanna make sure you don't have it near things like salad and all of that stuff because of cross-contamination. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this towel right here, and I'm gonna take another, thank you, I'm gonna take this towel and I'm gonna put this cutting board, I'm gonna take this cutting board and put it right here. And what I'm gonna do with this chicken right here is I'm gonna cut this chicken open, butterfly it, season it up, and get it ready to go. Let's check these green beans again. Right here, these are looking good. Not really quite.
How much longer?
I'm gonna say give them about maybe three, 4 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, now back to the story. So so my mom invited me to go to this church here in town to listen to the singing that was going on. And when I went there, I saw this young lady. So I'm going through my mind thinking, where did I see her before? I know I've seen her somewhere before. So where did I see her at? And it hit me, that was the lady from Walmart. And I wasn't going to miss this opportunity right there. So let's go ahead and take these, and I'll come back to that story in a second. Let's take these green beans here. They're about ready. Let's take those green beans. We're going to take them over here. We're going to strain them. We're going to strain them. Just pour them right there. We're going to strain the green beans. And then once you strain them, what we're going to do now, we're going to take them, pour them in here, and then we're going to put we're going to get some ice, and then we're going to ice those green beans down so they'll stop cooking. You want to stop the cooking process because if not, they're going to continue to cook. So we're going to bring these right over here. She's getting ice to put on top of the green beans. Let's do it like this. So just put a little ice right here. Just put a little ice in this bowl, right here. Put a little ice in that bowl. And what we're going to do, we're going to pour these on there and let them sit for a second. It's going to cool them down. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and get my pot ready. And remember I said you start off doing potatoes in cold water. That's good, Stephanie. So now what I'm doing is I'm just getting cold water to put my potatoes in there. When you're doing potatoes, you want to make sure you salt the water. Potatoes have a tendency to absorb a lot of salt. So you want to make sure, if not, your potatoes are going to be bland. So I'm starting this off with some cold water right here. I'm going to put this in there, and there again, we're going to salt it. Not quite as much as we were doing pasta, but a little bit more than we did with the green beans, okay? So we're gonna go here, and we're just gonna stir these up. And we're gonna let these come to, we're not really letting them come to a boil, but we're cooking them so they'll be, I'm gonna say probably about 75% done, because once they're done right here, we're gonna take them already a little soft, not complete, not mush, but soft. And then we're gonna add our different herbs, our butter, our oregano, our Parmesan, our smoked paprika, and then we're gonna finish those things off in the oven. And once we put it together, guys, you're gonna love it. It looks good. So guys, with this chicken right here, what we're gonna do is the potatoes are cooking up nicely. The green beans are cooling down because we've already blanched those bad babies off. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just butterflying this chicken. If you have a piece of chicken that's kind of thick and you want it to cook more even, you can go ahead and butterfly it open so you get a nice even cooking. It'll cook nice and even. So we do that. So I got 4 of them right here. So I'm gonna do this right here and just cut it open. You know.
Let's stir the potatoes.
Yeah, stir the potatoes. Make sure the potatoes are good. So, like she was saying, I went over to her house after I saw her in church. I went over to her house, had a friend of mine who knew where she lived. The area we live in is kind of small. I'm not going to say everybody knows everybody, but we know people here. Let me just say that.
People who know people.
We know people who know people. Right. I know people, trust me. So anyway, with that said, I called a few people that I knew who knew her and told me where she lived at. And once I found out where she lived at, I decided to go over and introduce myself to her. So I proceeded to go over to her house, like she said, on a Sunday night. I'll never forget it because I had my buddy with me. So went over to her house on a Sunday night and introduce myself to her. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead. I just finished cutting that chicken open right there. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Wash my hands. Yep. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a little salt. Never be afraid, guys, to season your food. Season it up, you know, right here. I can see the potatoes over there doing this thing right there. So I'm going to hit a little salt, pepper, garlic on this right here. You know, so we got that right there. So with this right here, I'm going to let this sit here just for a second. Let the flavors and things kind of absorb in it. And then we're going to take it from this step, and then we're going to put it in a little butter. And sometimes you can use clarified butter. And the reason, there's a few things about butter. You can use regular butter. Has a higher burn point than, say, vegetable oil, but not as high as olive oil. So olive oil burns really quick. Grapeseed oil burns really quick. And butter, it burns also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little butter that I've already melted down right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this butter. I'm going to put it over here on this cutting board. While this chicken is sitting on this one right here, notice it's sitting on a different cutting board than the brown ones over here, because I don't want any cross-contamination. And then I'm going to take about 2 cups of flour. Take this and put this in a sink. I got it. I'm going to 2 cups of flour that I'm going to put in this right here. And I'm going to pour it in there, little AP flour, all-purpose flour like we talked about. So we're going to put it in there. Right here. Now there's different ways you can make this recipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to salt, pepper, garlic this flour right here. Salt, pepper, garlic this flour. And we're going to take the chicken from the flour to the butter, a little bit more room, to the panko breadcrumbs. So that's what I'm going to do. My panko breadcrumb is right there. Yep. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take my bowl here. And I'm going to put about, now how much panko is this, Stephanie?
2 cups.
That's about 2 cups of panko bread. Actually, it looks more like 4 cups of panko.
So 4?
So about 4 cups of panko. I believe that's about 4 cups of panko breadcrumbs. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put a little, because it's called Parmesan crusted chicken. So I'm going to put some Parmesan in there. I'm also going to put a little oregano in there. Never be afraid to season. Little oregano in there. I'm going to put salt-free 17. And the reason is, it has all the flavors to it, and you don't have to add all that salt to it. Some people can't eat salt. A lot of salt anyway. Little basil right here that we're going to add to it. A little basil. Dry herbs is fine. If you want to use some fresh herbs, you can do that. But I think for this recipe right here, I think dry herbs works the best. I can smell that already.
I can too. I smell it.
I'm going to add a little parsley to it. A little parsley right here. For color, and then I have something else I'm going to do. So once And I think I haven't put any salt in there yet. I'm gonna put a little salt in there.
What's the something else?
I'll tell you. So here's the thing. First I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try these potatoes. Make sure they're almost there, a little bit longer. So what we're gonna do, what's the something else? I'm glad you asked. So let me do this here. I'm gonna go ahead and take all my chicken and I'm gonna put my chicken here so I can get this cutting board out the way. And I could just use this cutting board here. Because you asked the question, what's the something else? So I'm just gonna put this over here in the sink for right now. The something else is actually gonna be these, I'm gonna grab a knife out of here, because I'm gonna take a few, knife right here, I'm gonna take a few dry, a few fresh herbs, break it off right here. Fresh flat leaf parsley, right here. And I'm gonna chop it up. Just doing like a little rough chop on it. You know, whenever you're using a real sharp knife like this, you want to make sure you pay attention, not trying to do any fancy tricks or anything like that. Have those fingers back because you don't want to cut yourself. That would be really, really bad. Plus, I don't think the recipe calls for blood.
And it would hurt.
And it would hurt. Thank you, honey. So I'm going to take this right here, get this out the way. So we have our fresh herb here. So now, like I said, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and dredge this. So let me do this here. I'm going to get this one out the way because we're done with it. I'm going to put a plate right here because this is where we're going to put our, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, my beautiful assistant. She's cleaning up behind me.
Yes.
Sometimes I make a mess in the kitchen. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to take this chicken right here and I'm going to dredge it into salt, pepper, garlic, AP flour. Shake the excess off of it. Put it here. Normally, I use my hands. Your hands is the best kitchen tool you got. I want to think, Hassan, if you want to, go ahead and use your hands and take it from here and put it over here. I want to think Julia Child said that. Your hands is the best kitchen tool you have. She was amazing, guys. If you don't know who Julia Childs is, I don't know what to say. She was amazing. So I'm going to take this right here, and that was a terrible impression of her. Julia Childs right here. So I'm going to take this right here and put that one in there, shaking off the excess flour and
flour?
butter. The flour just makes the butter stick to it a little bit better. And I'm shaking also off the excess margarine.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. How's the potatoes? You think
Potatoes? Yeah, we're going to go and cut those potatoes off. Thank you. I tell myself, I don't multitask very well. I like to think I do one thing very well. My wife, on the other hand, she multitasks very well. So I'm done with this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this completely out the way because space is limited. So I'm just going to get this out the way, put this over here. And while Stephanie is, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my area right over here, guys. You got a towel right here. So while Stephanie is doing this, finishing this up, and it looks really good, we're going to take this and we're going to put it in a pan. I'm going to put a little olive oil on it. Have my oven already set to 450. And I'm going to take this chicken right here. And actually, I probably need to take that down. Preheated it, but I need to take that down a little.
Take it down?
Yeah, put it on like
what?
375. Yeah. So we're going to put this chicken on 375 in the oven for about 25 minutes. And then we're going to do some magic. So I'm going to slide this in the oven. I got it? Mm-hmm. So we're going to slide this in the oven. I don't know what I did. While the chicken is cooking, we're going to go ahead and clean this up out the way right here too. So I'm going to put this over here. This right here.
Oops,
Yeah, just put that right over there for me. Yep. So now, the chicken's done, or it's in the oven, it's working, right? It's in the oven, it's working. Green beans is blanching. Potatoes is about ready. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the green beans. We're going to take the potatoes and we're going to drain them. So potatoes is cooking here. So here, I'm going to do this here. Our mini bowls that we have in the kitchen here. So I'm going to put these right here. Rinse this, and I'm going to drain the potatoes. They're done. Okay? Potatoes are done. I'm gonna take the potatoes, pour them back in here, and now what we're gonna do with the potatoes is we're gonna do a little olive oil. We're going back to our spices here. So we're gonna put a little salt-free 17. We're making herb roasted potatoes here. Salt-free 17, that was probably about a tablespoon of that. Tablespoon, that's basil. Some people put basil in it. I don't wanna put basil in mine. Basil sometimes can have a little sweetness to it. So I'm gonna put a little oregano in there. I'm also gonna put a little salt in here. A little bit more salt. I'm gonna pop a little pepper in it. If ever you have an opportunity to crack your own pepper, let's crack the pepper. Steph, do me a favor. Go ahead and sprinkle a little smoked paprika in that. So she's putting a little smoked paprika. You can use regular paprika, but smoked paprika is really good. So we're just gonna toss this just a little. And if you're afraid of tossing it because you don't want to get it all over you, and you can always use a rubber spatula. So that's not ready yet. So we got this working here. So we're just gonna take these and we're gonna put these on a pan and put them in the oven. Okay, so we're gonna take these, put them on a pan here, and we're just gonna put those things in the oven. Okay, let's get these in the oven. All right, so what we got so far. So now we have the potatoes cooking in the oven. We have the green beans almost ready. Now what we're gonna do with the green beans, you're gonna love it. We're gonna take those green beans that's been blanched and cooling down. We're gonna get them back on the induction cooker. We're gonna put a little olive oil in there, a little andouille sausage in there, some onions and peppers, and then we're gonna saute those green beans up. And then guys, we're gonna start plating here in a second. So here, we got this here. We're gonna cut this back on. You always, whenever you're cooking and sauteing and doing different things like that, you always wanna do it in a hot saute. You know, I'm kind of cutting the little corners right here. This is not really a skillet, but it's close enough. Got a flat bottom on it, so we're good. Okay. Guys, sometimes in the kitchen, you just got to do what you got to do. Sometimes things don't work out perfect. So anyway, what we're going to do is, I'm going to get the water up out of it.
You hear me?
Well, I hear you.
You got to improvise.
Got to improvise. Thank you. We got to improvise. So that's what we're doing. So we get a little oil in here. I'm going to let this come up to temperature, and we're going to get ready to start plating. While that's getting hot, let me talk about the last thing we're going to do. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to make a salad. Now, we've already got the salad. We got the tomatoes for the salad, the strawberries for the salad, feta cheese for the salad. I've already taken the liberty to make a balsamic vinaigrette. I'm not going to take you guys through that. I'll just tell you real quick how we did it. We took some olive oil. We took a little balsamic vinaigrette. You take the balsamic vinaigrette, you take your other spices, your salt, your pepper. You can put a little mustard in there to emulsify it, and then you add in your balsamic, and pretty much that's it. Blend it all together, and that's a balsamic vinaigrette. So we got that working right there. So let's get a plate right there, Stephanie, and we'll start putting that salad together. This looks like it's coming together quite nicely.
Do you just need one plate or two?
Listen to that. Give me a bigger platter. I'm sorry.
Platter.
Let's go here. So we got a platter right here. Stephanie's gonna put salad on that right there, and then she's gonna start putting the toppings. So go ahead and put me the strawberries, grape tomatoes on there, cucumbers, and we're good to go. And while that's working, I'm gonna be taking care of this over here that I can hear is coming together. Right here. So we're blanching these right here, or really just sweating them. So I'm gonna hit it with a little salt.
Right behind you.
Right here. Thank you, ma'am. She's putting that salad together. It's looking really nice over there. I'm gonna crack a little pepper in it. Right here. And then we're gonna stir it up a little bit more. That's almost there. So while that's doing it, I'm gonna go ahead and check my chicken.
What's this meat for?
That's what I'm gonna put in my green beans.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Not yet.
The chicken is looking really nice right here. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer. And guys, we did a little TV magic on the chicken. Little TV magic. So while that's cooking right there, we're gonna wipe this off right here. Right here. So that's cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and take my green beans. Don't really want to get that ice in there. And I'm gonna take that in there. Also gonna add in my andouille sausage. Right here. Right here.
Are we putting cheese in the salad?
We're gonna add cheese on the top, but we're gonna add it at the end.
At the end, okay.
It's looking good though. That looks really good. Let's go ahead and hit it with a little salt, a little pepper right here. Really good right here. We're gonna take a little blue cheese crumb. I said we're gonna put it in, but we put it right here. All right, looks good. Right there. This is coming along. Guys, green beans. I remember back in the days when I was starting to cook, I remember watching, I want to think it was Ina Gardner, who said, if you knew how to cook something 3 different ways, then you were doing okay. Well, I took it upon myself to say, hey, I'm going to learn how to cook certain items 10 different ways. So I've cooked green beans so many different ways. I'm telling you, I've done everything from teriyaki green beans to Mediterranean green beans, southern green beans, stir-fried green beans. I've done so many different types of green beans. So with these green beans right here, we just took some regular andouille sausage.
It smells so good.
It does smell good, doesn't it? It does smell good. So that cooking, yeah. So we got those working right there. Green beans are almost done. Let's take a look at our chicken. And I told you I was going to do some TV magic. So check this out. I put it in the top oven, but I'm bringing it out the bottom oven. Already. So we got chicken right here. And this is what the chicken is going to look like. Now, in all seriousness, guys, we cooked the chicken just a little earlier because it does take about 25 minutes to cook that chicken. So we did this right here. So we're going to just do some plating. Now I'm going to take that balsam and vinaigrette that I told you I made right here. And I am going to drizzle it across the top of this right here.
That looks good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so we let that right there. Yeah. So I'm going to toss that up just a little, Stephanie. So with green beans here. Guys, this is smelling really, really good. Stephanie is tossing that around, guys. So right now, what we got, the green beans are done. The chicken is done. Let's check the potatoes. I forgot something.
What'd you forget?
I forgot something. Right here. Potatoes right here. We added a little Parmesan on top of, a little fresh Parmesan on top of the potatoes. These
those
potatoes
look good.
They do look good, don't they? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put potatoes on there. So we're plating up these potatoes right here. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to go here. And we're just going to put our cream sauce. I'm going to put our cream sauce right across this chicken. So guys, here we have it.